Algo entendido. Casi.
No, I have a little bit. I can see like everything shaking. That last part. I'm trying to like how long do you that's what I'm trying
Sí, pero pueden enviar ¿qué preferís? ¿Prefieres
PowerPoint también, pero si me lo puedes mandar por correo, pero mira, te voy a enseñar lo que me manda el correo. Te puedo dar una USB.
Ah, bueno, sí. Se pudiera un poco largo.
Era full email.
¿Qué preferís? Creo que lo puedo exportar.
Like I just forget about it. I'll get too wired. I'll be like,
PowerPoint y el PDF. Cambiamos cuando decimos la
try and get him. How you doing, Aaron?
Joe. Very nice to meet you. You got mad at Azure?
I think we met.
We have. I'm not aware. It might have been like last August.
Good man. Hey,
How are you doing?
no.
You can't worry about it. It's fashion show.
So this is the question. What are you guys doing? Hold on, I looked it up today.
Yeah, I mean, I told you.
I remember.
The website with the cartoons. Attorneys. Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Yeah, we're super stoked. We just moved a week ago, so never gone to this event. Really excited to see the event and to pitch to everybody.
Yeah.
Really appreciate you guys.
Well, Johan, I'm
You're presenting? Oh, cool. Sweet. Awesome. Well, excited to see your pitch. Here's Tim. Sort of. Yeah. Business is like getting settled in. Our personal lives are still pretty good shape.
My bag is still totally
I might give a few all my questions.
We're staying with my parents.
really bootstrapped.
They wanted to come tonight. They've never seen me in pitch.
Nice. You gotta do what you gotta do, you know? Yeah.
They wanted to come. They've never seen me in pitch. I was like, are you guys gonna come? They're like, it's not cool for the CEO's mom to be at the pitch.
A lot of other things.
So are you pitching your startup? Cool. The one that's upstairs. It's on the logo. Yeah. Sure.
What is it? Yeah. I think we should turn it.
And then they had extra Starbucks logo. So you got to see briefly what's your name.
My friend, you
Yeah,
know?
I guess because they have a white panel backing. So it's orange, like the road. Did you want it? Of course, we'll sit best. That's awesome. My favorite. Yeah, so it's like orange. And the white. Hey, dude, Chad, Joe. Sorry, nice to meet you. Startup out here. Yeah, thank you so much. So, how'd it go for you guys? Yeah, but it was, so it was like coming through. I was like, cool. Are you saying you're better than us or what?
not job.
And they put it up like a
So where are you from?
Yeah, I'm afraid.
Kyle, he's from Austin. I'm from Austin.
It's definitely so.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of friends who went there. You guys have a fun like thing on around they all your favorite spots? There's one really good.
Called Cafe Rincon, RA. Yeah, I do hip bananas, and I did like 20 different
I actually closed questions to let the other I'll come over there in a second. You're sitting right up front.
Hey, are you gonna drink a beer? Are you gonna drink a beer? Casual here. Yeah, do you want to drink a beer? Probably won't.
I'll get a beer.
You think it's fine? Are you?
Definitely not. You're not going to look down. Just have a pile. So if you look over there.
Yeah, we just missed out.
That's all it is. You can say what's going on. It's been a while. Bazaarvoice.
But I was gonna ask you, are you staying for the pitch?
I'm not.
Oh,
Yeah, are you helping run this?
no, I'm pitching second. I would love.
I might stay for that. I just need to make sure I'm home and find the technical.
Yeah. Mine is for
flying out to
parents
New
too.
York.
You'll like it.
Cool. Yeah, I'm flying out to New York tomorrow, and I'm gone for most of the week.
Yeah. So okay.
So I just try to stay balanced.
Makes sense. Totally get it. So I know Azel, Marco, John Lloyd, they've all at Data.world now.
Yeah.
Right? So that's pretty exciting. They were like, I was what's the project for 4 years almost. So I think you're getting the best of them. So I'm super excited.
We have an amazing team.
Yeah. Are you
Pretty much build anything at
Yeah.
this point on the software side.
And are you guys going to talk a little bit about what Data.world is doing today?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, whatever questions he asks me. But yeah, I'm happy to talk about it. Thanks for doing that. I was just going to tell you, I was like, I don't have like gamify. You know what I mean? Something, it's like, oh, thanks, buddy. You know, so I want to stay for all my kids. I'm flying out to New York tomorrow.
working on like full-time.
Now, a week later, see the video, that's even worse. Nobody telling you that you see the video. It's just like, hey, no wonder nobody wanted to talk to you.
Alright, so yeah, we had a presentation ready to go for Keynote.
I know, all my text changed, I don't have PowerPoint. We're just doing it on PowerPoint is pixelated.
Hey everyone, about to start. Please grab a seat. We'll get started soon. It's a packed house. We got some rooms for standing here, guys. If you guys want to move over there, that's fine. Wow. I need to get a picture of this. This is a packed house, guys. Appreciate for coming. It's great to have you. Thanks for coming to Austin if you're not from Austin. I definitely want to introduce myself. My name is Johan Borch. I'm the CEO and founder of the TechMap and the co-founder. If you guys notice, there's a lot of things we'll be doing updates on the website what I talk about. The people that organize this is my wife. She actually wasn't able to make it today. And then we have community directors in LA because we're starting to do it in LA. We're looking for more community directors here in Austin and other locations. So if you know anybody, we do pay, not as much, but it's more about the network and the connections that you make. Volunteers, as you guys saw, we got Tony, Lydia, and Carla was helping out today. I appreciate them being here. And one thing I'm going to talk about is I'm going to need some beta testers for our app that is coming up. So if you guys are a developer, UX designer, we already have this in Android, and we're looking for people that will actually help us go through it and give us some feedback so we can make this better for you guys. So when you come to the event, it's actually a lot better connections when you come here and see who's coming. Let me get out of here. And this is a website. So this is one thing that we're building on the website that we're starting to. So whenever you come to any event that we have or events that people post on our website, you can see what people are coming for, what they're looking for. And that way you can connect with them before you come to the event and after. So make it more interesting of who you want to meet when you come here. If it's investor, developer, whatever that might be, a marketing person. So we're making the platform to make it easier for everybody to connect on that aspect. Going back to this. So you guys know, you saw the red color dots or blue or green, what they all mean. Red is for talent developers, green is investors, mentors, blue entrepreneurs, and marketing for yellow and others. Then this is how the pretty much is going to go. You guys had the mingle. Basically you drank some beer, ate some. Hopefully there was some left over. Louder? I don't know if this mic is not working that well.
No, the mic's not working well.
Huh?
Mic sounds fuzzy.
It's fuzzy? I wonder if is this one working though? Huh? Let me see if I can get the other one to work. Hello? 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 Is that better? Better? Is that better or no? Yes. Okay, hopefully that's not so fuzzy. Well, so we're gonna have keynote speakers later on, and we're gonna mingle a little bit later, and we'll have to get out of here by 9 o'clock. This is our next speaker that we're gonna have on November 7th. Robert is gonna be doing our keynote. Then we have in LA, we actually are partnering up with Tech Week. If you guys haven't heard of them, they're from Chicago, and they're kind of South by Southwest, but they travel to different cities. So we're going to be in LA with them, and also they're going to be here in Dallas this year. We're going to partner up with them as well. Next thing is tomorrow. That's better. Whatever you did was good. Yeah, can't hear myself now. We're going to be Bunkers Lab. I'm actually going to be in a panel speaker, so I recommend you guys a 10th day event. And then if you guys don't know about Startup Crawler, on Thursday, we're going to have actually a booth, and we'll give away some goodies as well. And one thing I forgot to mention, I'll probably mention it later, but if you sign up to our Verified VIP to support our cause, we'll give you a free shirt today. Just let us know if you're VIP, if you already are. We have some shirts away to give away. And now, let me go ahead and bring up the University of Texas, Mandy, from our school. We couldn't have done this without the sponsors and partners that we have here. So thank you guys, and please help me welcome them.
You want to see Brett, of course. So I'm Mandy. I'm with the Texas MSTC program. MSTC is the Masters of Science and Technology Commercialization. We are a one-year master's program that is for working professionals. So we meet on alternating weekends. Technology commercialization basically is a business degree where we teach students how to take new products and ideas to market. So it's a lot like an MBA degree that you would get from McCombs, but we focus on the early stage of product development. You also don't have to be technically inclined to get this degree, so our students work on real-world technologies that come out of the university or A&M or NASA. At the end of the program, you have the option to license that technology most of the time, and we have about 6 companies launching out of the program, every year. So we are the #6 entrepreneurship program in the United States. If you want more information about our program, we will be right back there after this is over. You can come and see me. That's it.
Thank you. And I don't know if we have anybody from Austin Startup Week. Is Jacqueline or anybody from Austin Startup Week here? So I guess you guys heard Austin Startup Week is this whole week. So we're actually partnered with them. This is actually why we make the event free, and same reason our sponsors helped us provide the food that you guys are drinking and eating. Next, I want to bring out Monica with Richard Rodriguez and Skeet. She's also a sponsor. And I'm sorry, but she didn't have a chair for you.
Hey guys, how are y'all doing? My name is Monica Layfield, and I am a business attorney with Richard Rodriguez and Skeet. For the past 10 years, I've been working with innovators, entrepreneurs, startups, and emerging growth companies throughout every phase of the business cycle, helping them navigate the legal waters in the most successful way possible to help to get them to achieve their goals. I'm really happy to be here tonight. My firm is really proud to be sponsoring TechMap and contributing to the entrepreneurial ecosystem that is unique to Austin. So thank you guys very much. Have a great night.
Thank you. So of course the TechMap will also, the ones that provide the event. Drujo Promo is actually the shirts that we're giving away and some of the stuff that we have, hats, they do it for us. And Your Way is actually my wife's business, where she actually coaches volleyball, and she sponsors and helps out a lot here. The next person is Burrow. I don't know if anybody from Burrow is here today. That's an app that they have. So the way we got the drinks and everything, they came from Sam's Club, and what we did is we sent Sam's a fax, and then Burroughs picks it up for us. And they're a sponsor because they help us manage that for us, because otherwise we'll be carrying that. But I'll recommend, if you guys are looking for that kind of work or service, contact Burrow. Capital Factory, of course, they provided the space here. I don't know if anybody from Capital Factory wants to say anything. Does anybody? Oh. You should check them out. They're doing tours all week, and they have an accelerator, and they have a lot of great programs. So if you guys never been to Capital Factory, you should definitely come here on Thursday as well and check them out and learn more about them. Startup Grind is another partner that we have, and basically they have an event, I think tomorrow here at Capital Factory. Is free, and they're gonna have a keynote speaker as well. I think he's an attorney, but you should check him out as well. They do a lot of events in different cities. And this is pretty much the layout of all the presenters that we have tonight. Law Booth, Cattle, sorry for the name, before lectures, Cine Up, and Chimichurri. And you could have probably got that from the flyer that they have in the front. They have all that information about them and what they're looking for, so you can connect with them. So this is the format that it was going to go today. 20 minutes with the with keynote, Brett Hurst, 5 minutes Q&A, 5 minutes pitches, and then 4 minutes Q&A for the pitches. Then later we have to get out of here, pick up the trash at 9 p.m. The cleaning crew comes in, so we have to get out of here by then. So you can go downstairs to the bar and have more drinks and talk to each other as well. And for now, further ado, I forgot Golden Hour Media as a sponsor for some reason. You want to come up, say something? God, sorry guys, I'll make it really quick.
So last week I had the pleasure of interviewing our awesome mayor, Steve Adler, and this was for a project for Tech Ranch, Austin. And it was interesting that he actually wasn't initially part of the project scope, but Kevin asked him on really short notice. We went down to City Hall and got him to promote the city of Austin to attract entrepreneurs, CEOs, people in the tech scene to plant their flag in this city. So I just want to remind you guys to leverage those relationships you've built up with people. You know, just go ahead and ask someone who you think could promote your business or what you're involved with, because maybe they'll say yes, and then get video of it. All right, enjoy the show, you guys.
Thank you. So this is actually being live cast and also professionally filmed. So the keynote speaker and also all the pitches that you're gonna hear, they're gonna be recorded. And if you're a VIP member, you can actually get to see those online and watch it professionally and connect with them as well. For further ado, let me go ahead and bring up Brett Hurst. The way we're going to run this, we're going to sit down here, we're going to have Q&A, and then we'll open up for the audience if they have any specific questions they want to ask him as well. So if you guys will help me bring him up here, thank you.
Sure.
So let me go get you another mic. Here you go.
We could just trade off if you want.
You got two.
Okay, go for it. Hi guys. Hope you're enjoying Startup Week.
Okay, so I'm just getting the questions out here. Well, so I'll let Brad introduce himself a little bit, background and stuff like that, and then we'll start with the questions if you don't mind.
All right, great. So I'm actually an Austin native, believe it or not, born and raised here. I have started 6 companies now. I'm an investor in 45 startups and 11 VC funds. Most importantly, I've been married 20 years and have 2 great kids and incredible wife.
Good. So tell us a little bit about what drove you in your interest to be an entrepreneur, knowing you had a wife and
Yeah, well, my wife's played a big part in it, actually. I became an entrepreneur after meeting her. So my parents were entrepreneurs from the time I was born. Here, you know what? I think it's got a red light. So my parents were entrepreneurs from the time I was born. Is this working? So they actually became entrepreneurs because they wanted to spend a lot of time with us, which is kind of cool. So they were kind of your classic lifestyle entrepreneurs. My dad invented the first halogen fission light, sold those all over the world. I got a lot of memories as a kid, like actually detailing the labels with him and helping him ship them out, going visiting some of the retail stores that carried his product. And they had furniture stores, they had rent houses. They had a very simple life compared to my life. My dad, when I was, I guess I was 10 years old, he turned down Walmart to sell his products in all the Walmart stores. And I couldn't understand it because I've always been wired to be very ambitious. And I said, Dad, I can't believe that you would tell Walmart no. And I was really angry about it. I remember being like really, really angry about it. And he sat me down at a small table and he said, son, you may realize the value of keeping life simple one day, or you may not. That's your choice. And later on in life, he told me, you never did get that lesson. And he, you know, we'd joke about it, and I'd say, well, Dad, you know what my problem is? He said, yep, too damn ambitious. That's like bingo. So it's,
I think they got the other mic and we're screwing it.
I'm not scratching my back. Or anything. So they had a huge impact on me becoming an entrepreneur, but I don't think they intended for me to become the entrepreneur that I've become. I think they thought I would have an easier lifestyle than I do.
Cool. If you don't mind, Mike.
Yes.
I guess we're gonna share mics today because the other one is getting a new battery apparently. So I guess one of the biggest questions that everybody have here is, how did you look for your co-founder for your startups that you have? You have 6.
Yeah.
So how did you find them, and how did you keep that relationship with them?
Sure. So I've had the good, the bad, and the ugly over the years, and you can read tons and tons of books on entrepreneurship, and I very much encourage you to do so. I mean, now if you start a business, there are so many great blogs. First Round Review. There's so many others. I've written a lot about entrepreneurship on my blog and tried to create in a Wikipedia style, kind of aspiration, like the different things I've learned. I had my very first business. I had no co-founders. It was just me, and it was a consulting business. Something I knew how to do. That was my first job, outside of working for my parents, and I felt like it was kind of wrong coming from an entrepreneurial family that they would bill me out at around $250 to $350 an hour, and I would make around $25 an hour. So the first thing I did was prove to myself that I could actually make that on my own, and I proved that to myself at 24. I made $250 to $350 an hour with her technology consulting, not very imaginative on the name, and I leveraged lots of Ward undergrads, and we delivered lots of cool systems. We built web applications back before most people were doing that. My second business, I continued the first business, and I had 3 businesses going at one point. I would never recommend that, but the second business was called MBA Zone, and it was a virtual community for MBA students, alumni, as well as people applying for their MBA. This was pre-Facebook. It was advertising supported. I sold some of the original advertising to fund the business. It was bootstrapped. My first 3 businesses were bootstrapped, but my co-founder for that business wanted to run it as a lifestyle business, which is kind of ironic because that's what I came from, and so that wasn't going to work, because the last thing I was going to do at age 25 was do a lifestyle business. I was going to go for a big business. So we parted ways. She bought out my shares, and that was that. And we're good friends today, but that just didn't work. My third business, I actually started my own e-commerce site with my wife, and that's a great partner. And I found out through that it was a really cool experience. I mean, we were selling online in 1998. And I remember when we got our first orders from London and all this stuff, and we're like, wow, selling to the world, versus my parents selling in Austin, all this leverage you get from selling around the world. The problem is that you couldn't see what anybody was actually doing on the site. And in my parents' store, I could ask them questions about, like, how did they find us, and see how they're navigating the store. And so I built an analytics system for myself. I can't really afford to buy one, and from what I could tell, there weren't any good analytics solutions at the time. And that business really became obsessive for me, the analytics part of it, much more so than selling sports nutrition products, which is what our e-commerce site was selling. Really didn't matter what we sold, but we sold that because people bought them every month, and we ourselves met in a gym when we first got together at UT in undergrad, and we thought, well, we're buying this stuff every month, we might as well sell it as well. But the analytics business like really started to impact our sales. I was able to double our sales, double our conversion ratio, and I went to go meet with friends that worked at places like Amazon and CD Now, and they said, you have better analytics than we have. And I couldn't believe that. I really couldn't believe that at the time. And so it was one of those eureka moments where I thought, this is the business. This is gonna be huge. I mean, people are gonna use this all over the world. And that turned out to be true later on. But I partnered with a horrible co-founder. This guy who basically lied to me, froze our bank account. I ended up graduating from Wharton, feeling very proud for graduating. At that point, it was rated the #1 MBA program for 6 years in a row, and living, I went all in on core metrics and divested out of everything else. Like I sold my other businesses. The consulting business I actually gave to my employees, because I was like, there is no business without you guys. But I sold the others, and including the e-commerce business, and I was living with my wife out of her parents' house with a frozen bank account. And that was Core Metrics. That was the beginning of Core Metrics. That was a company that later sold for almost $300 million to IBM. So that was a horrible experience. I made the mistake of thinking that everybody at Wharton was great, and that wasn't true. We have a sterling example of that today with Donald Trump, but I won't get political. Sorry, that was my inside voice. Yeah, I might as well just start it out here, right? You guys have all been drinking, we're fine. So that, that business, fortunately, one of my investors who had money in the frozen account was able to get him out basically by threatening to sue him. And then me and Deborah and several others built a real business there, and went through lots of trials and tribulations. Bazaarvoice was much easier because I had gotten to know my co-founder Brant very well at Core Metrics. He was amazing at Core Metrics, and we started the business together, and that business did the best of all. We went from 0 to 100 million of sales in 6 years. We raised $25 million. We had 12 million left in the bank when we went public. So we're incredibly capital efficient in that 6-year period. And my most recent business now, my new business, Data.World, was even easier because I could say, well, who are the best people I've ever worked with in my career? And 2 of them were John Loynes and Matt Lessig. John is our head of product and Matt's our COO. And then John was like, well, the best guy I've ever worked with in my career is Brian Jacob. And the 4 of us teamed up, and it's been blissful, actually, from a co-founder perspective. But I wish I could tell you some magic formula to find a great co-founder. I guess the best piece of advice I could give you is that you should spend a lot of time dating before you get married, because it really is like a marriage. There's no relationship more intimate than your marriage, than starting a business with someone. And you shouldn't just jump into it, or you shouldn't think like, hey, they're at Capital Factory, so they must be amazing, or they're at Galvanize, so they are Techstars or whatever, or I've met them here, so they must be amazing. You should spend a lot of time really getting to know them, really talking about the future of what you're trying to achieve, talking about philosophy, talking about the type of culture you want to build. I was too ignorant to do those things at the beginning of Core Metrics, and I've got the scar tissue to show for it. Things have turned out okay, but it was a rough start.
Okay. The next question that everybody's asking here, especially other people that are going to be pitching, is how do you get funding? Like, what was the first step you did? Did you I mean, I know you bootstrap a lot of stuff, but like when you first went after your first investor, was that somebody you knew, somebody that you have been connected with, or how did you get the funding to get approved?
So I bootstrapped my first 3 businesses, and that was a very valuable experience because you cut your teeth a lot when you're bootstrapping. There's nothing like having to make payroll and knowing that you have to sell more stuff to do it. For Core Metrics, I did raise money because it's global ambition, and the way I initially did it was I leveraged my most immediate social network, which was the Wharton community. So I got really lucky. The very first person to invest in Core Metrics was a guy who was an undergrad student at Wharton. I was an MBA student. He was 19 years old. His dad had franchised the original Kentucky Fried Chicken from the Colonel, and I'm not kidding. And his mom was Phyllis George, who was like 1980 Miss America. So he had very good genes, to say the least, and he made a bet on me. And it was this crazy thing where I started out by pitching it at Wharton. I basically said, hey, I'm starting this business. I'd started a number of companies at Wharton and got a little bit notable for that. And so I had this session where I sent out a note. I think it was an email. I can't remember how you communicated back then, but I sent out an email, like basically saying in 2 weeks I'm going to pitch, and anybody in the Wharton community that may be interested in being my initial investors. And he showed up, and I went around the room and I said, like, what's your background? And he was like, well, I'm 19, my name's Lincoln Brown, and I started an investment fund when I was 14, with $250,000, and I've now turned that into $2 million, and I really like to invest in startups, and I'm really curious, and I'm just like, my jaws drop. I'm like, all right, well, you're probably the smartest person in the room here, and he ended up being my very first investor. And I'll give you a little piece of advice on raising money. We raised that initial money on a note structure, and that's very common now. But pull the money in as it's available. Like, don't wait for some big event. Don't wait till you have like $1 million and then execute the note. If like someone's willing to write you a $100,000 check today for your business on a note structure, take the money today. Like, do not wait, because people can be they can go cold very quickly, or they could be distracted by the next shiny object, and that way you create kind of this rolling thunder where you're building momentum, and people start to see scarcity, and they start to see like, this person's gonna do it. They're gonna raise the money that they told me they're gonna raise, and if I don't go in now, they'll have this fear of missing out. That fear of missing out is probably the most important thing when you're raising money.
Is that how you do most of your investment in notes, or you do a lot of equity?
Well, for Data.World, we raised $14 million in 2 weeks. We started on November 29th, and we signed on December 15th. And that fear of missing out was very important for that fundraise, and it's very important for all fundraises. So we did it as a priced round. But a big mistake you can make in raising money is do it for a long, long time. Like if you time box it, and you're in a period where momentum is increasing, if you time box it, then it creates that scarcity, and that's very important. The last thing you want to do is be out there for 6 months raising money. That's a waste of your time. It's a waste of investors' time, and it frankly makes you look like an unattractive company.
So next question is, what keep you up at night? I mean, now probably not anything, but before, when you were going through the entrepreneurship kind of thing.
Well, number one thing that keeps me up at night now is this new business, and this new business is very different for me. So Core Metrics and Bazaarvoice were both vertical B2B software as a service companies, which is real common. You see a lot of them around Austin. I'm an investor in quite a few. Alert Media, for example, Get Smart Content is another one. You know, Shelfbox is a verticalized B2B SaaS play. And those businesses, you kind of know who you're going to call on. Like, you know, in Shelfbox case, there's around 10,000 or so, you know, VPs of kind of digital or store. You know, Shelfbox interesting because it crosses over both, that you're going to call. And it's a matter of reaching them, and you go to conferences to reach them and everything else. There's a conference for everything, where you can reach people. With Data.World, it's a platform. Basically, if we succeed, this is going to be the world's social network for data. It's going to be the first place you think of when you think of, I wonder if there's a data set on climate change, and boom, you go there and you can grab it and interact with it. You can see the queries that people are running on it. You can see how they're talking about the data, different problems with the data, how they're linking the data up, that climate change data with other data sets. So you can see all that social activity. Well, to build a business like that, which is a platform business, you have to win in the court of public opinion. And that's very different than winning with 10,000 or so VPs of e-commerce in the case of Bazaarvoice. So that type of business is one where you have to do a lot of iterating, and I could use all of your help. I mean, Data.World is a free tool. You can go, interact with it. I'd love your feedback on it. You'll already find a lot of interesting data sets that should help your business. And you know that, but I ultimately have to win in the court of public opinion with this business, and that's a much, much harder thing to do. It's a much bigger payoff when you do it societally and everything else, because this will be a tool that my children will use one day. Like when they're in college, my dream is that they'll ask me, what was the world like before Data.World? And they asked, my daughter asked me that today about customer reviews with Bazaarvoice. When we started Bazaarvoice in 2005, there were 3 retailers in the entire US who had customer reviews. Now there are thousands. And I think that we can change the world with this business, but we have to win in the court of public opinion, and that's a much, much more difficult thing to do.
Okay, let me open up some questions for the audience. If anybody has a question, please you can shout it out or just come up here. We got one right here.
Yeah, any I guess lifestyle regrets compared to your dad's
So actually,
entrepreneurial streak and your streak obviously much different.
Yeah.
You say that's a lifestyle.
I will. So he asked me if I have any lifestyle regrets compared to my parents, and I'm really glad you asked me that question. Actually, nobody's asked me that question publicly, and no, I'm an open book. I'm very happy to give you a very open answer. So actually, after Bazaarvoice, I spent 3 years mostly investing in startups, and also just checking off a lot of bucket list items. I was at every field trip you can imagine for the kids. I traveled the world. I took off about 3 months out of every year during that 3-year period, where I visited all types of places, India, New Zealand, you name it. I mean, all these places I've always wanted to go. And so I got a taste, in a way, of my parents' lifestyle. I mean, my parents didn't really travel the world, but they had a very easy lifestyle. And at the end of the day, the reason I started Data.World is twofold. One, our daughter, who is amazing, she recently gave a TEDx talk, and she just got elected to student council. Like her TEDx talk, 250 people there, standing ovation. She was unbelievable. She's 12 years old. She said, "Dad, you know, when are you going to start another business?" After 3 years. I said, "Well, Rachel, you see all the things I'm doing, like you're in pitch meetings, you help me judge these startup competitions, all this. I want her to be a part of it, like she was a part of Bazaarvoice." And she said, yeah, Dad, all that's great. When are you going to start another business?" And that hit me really hard as a parent, because I thought, wow, you know, showing up to every field trip really isn't what she cares about most. Like what she cared about most was she was 6 months old when I started Bazaarvoice, and I took her to the office for client summits, for, well, client summits were at AT&T Executive Center, but I'd take her to those. I would take her to all hands meetings and things like that. And those are her best memories. And Abraham Lincoln has this great quote, and he says, if you'd like your children to walk in a certain direction, then you yourself must walk in that direction. And that really hit me. And then the second thing is I got involved in the Aspen Institute, the similar program that Josh Baer, the founder of Capital Factory, is involved in, called the Henry Crown Fellowship. And the Henry Crown Fellowship gets you really to think about your utility as a human being. And that had a big impact on me. So those two factors combined made me realize that, you know what, I am hardwired from birth to be a very ambitious entrepreneur, and that probably is in fact the best example I can give to the children, and the best utility that I have for this world is to keep changing this world, hopefully as much as I can for the better, through technology. And Data.World is the most ambitious journey yet, but I can hold my head very proud and say that Bazaarvoice made commerce way more transparent. I mean, I remember the days before Bazaarvoice at Coremetrics where people were like, they didn't want to hear. You know, it's easier not to hear criticism. And at Coremetrics, when I started Coremetrics, people had no clue how to run their sites. The metrics back then were page views and visitors. And then the dot-com bust happened, and almost all those people went out of business because they didn't have real businesses. And in the early days of Coremetrics, clients like Neiman Marcus would say, I won't even spend on paid search marketing unless Coremetrics is showing me I'm getting a 700% return. And they used to get a 700% return because back then the market was at a big disequilibrium. It wasn't an efficient market. And, you know, of course those days are long gone because Google is the most amazing profit machine in modern times. And I've actually got a tiny role in that. Like at the beginning of Coremetrics, people would interview me and say, well, what's your vision for this? And I would say, well, you know that old John Wanamaker quote, half my advertising is wasted, I just don't know which half. Like, well, one of the things Coremetrics is going to tell you is exactly which half, and when you know exactly which half, you'll spend in a near infinite way. Because why would you stop spending on advertising if you knew you were getting an ROI? You'd never stop. Well, that Google proved that. I mean, they really did. Like, Coremetrics came before Google, and when you create the money-making machine, if you can make your clients money, then they are never going to stop spending. And that's exactly what happened with Google's revenues. It just, so the biggest beneficiary of all Coremetrics is Google. But, you know, that's pretty cool to be able to know that you helped a little bit in changing the world. Steve Jobs had it right, though, when he said that in tech, you know, when you're changing the world, it's not like a building, like, you know, the Taj Mahal that's going to stand the test of time. It's like sediment. It's just going to get covered up. But knowing that you're even a part of the foundation is a really cool feeling. Yes?
How, you said you bootstrapped your first business.
First three.
First three. How much money did you start with to bootstrap your first business, and where did it come from?
So it's really easy to bootstrap the first business if it's a service business and you're doing what you already know how to do. So my first business was her technology consulting, doing exactly what I did at Anderson Consulting or Deloitte & Touche Consulting Group. Anderson Consulting now is called Accenture. And when I was able to prove to myself that I could make $250 to $350 an hour, we didn't have a house, we didn't have kids, we lived really high on the hog, you know, and went out to eat almost every single night. And we saved a lot of money too. So that first capital, it did not come from my parents. I never got money from my parents.
You didn't get money like Donald Trump.
Definitely not.
One more question, please.
I noticed you are an investor of Cobby Ventures. Where do you recommend a food and beverage entrepreneur have conversations with CPG investors?
Well, so you asked me, I'm an investor in Kabu, which is great. I was an early investor in Deep Eddy Vodka, and I basically rolled quite a bit of my
return into Kavu, because I very much believe in Clayton. He's an amazing entrepreneur and leader. And his team for Kavu Ventures also is very, very strong. So, you know, he would probably tell you that one of the best places to start is the CPG incubator in town, SKU. I think they renamed, but I think SKU is the name now. Okay. It's still SKU. Yeah, it used to be called the Incubation Station. That's right, but they changed the name to SKU. That's where he would tell you to start. I mean, you know, one thing is that, especially at Capital Factory or places like this, you could get blinded and think that the only type of entrepreneurship is tech. And I've been programming since I was 7 years old. That works really well for me. It's what I'm passionate about. But the really cool thing happening in Austin is you have two major healthcare VCs with Sante Ventures and Spindletop Capital. You have SKU, you have Kavu, you have a lot of different things popping up. You have the new you know, female founder only VC fund. I forgot what that's called, but I know Carrie and True Wealth. You have the diversity fund. You have a lot of different approaches here, and so Austin itself is becoming a little bit more diversified, and you can build amazing products and wealth through CPG companies. You know, when Deep Eddy Vodka exited, that was like an IPO, and had like an IPO like outcome. So, and you know, helped lots and lots of people that were early investors in that. So there are many different ways to make money, and the way that you should choose is the way that you feel is your burning passion. Like, if you feel like this is your burning passion, this is what keeps you up at night, then that's ultimate. You should listen to that. You shouldn't try to be a tech entrepreneur if you're not passionate about tech. You should, certainly, I saw that happen a lot. I used to live in Silicon Valley, and I saw it happen a lot in Silicon Valley at the right before the dot-com bubble burst. There were lawyers and accountants and all these people like leaving their practices to go get some of that dot-com money. They all just went right back, you know, right after the bubble burst. They probably never should have gone. And we're at that risk right now because we're in an 8-year bull market, and there's a lot of people that, you know, probably shouldn't be tech entrepreneurs kind of jumping in. And I really respect people like deciding to jump in because that is their core passion. Like our son's first grade teacher is a woman who was an accountant and was very good accountant at Arthur Andersen, and decided that wasn't her passion, that her passion had always been teaching, and she took basically a 50% pay cut to follow her passion. Her parents thought she was crazy, but now she's like one of the top teachers in Austin, and I respect that too. It's not about money, it's about passion.
Okay, so we're getting about that time, so last question will be, what's a good takeaway as an entrepreneur to give to everybody inspiring today here that are going to be pitching? What will you tell them to do in a single sentence and what not to do?
Single sentence. You can now tell that that's hard for me. I just touched on it. I would say be authentic to who you are and the way that you can personally exercise change in this world, hopefully make the world a better place. And be very, very, you know, this is the don't be, but it's going to, from a positive angle, be very, very deliberate about who you team up with. It's really hard to fire a co-founder. It's really hard to fire an investor, too. And I've made lots and lots of mistakes. I wish I could tell you that I was smart enough where I didn't make those mistakes, but I don't think there's such a thing in entrepreneurship. All the successful entrepreneurs I know have tons of battle scars, and don't be afraid to jump out there. You're going to make some mistakes, but the more deliberate you can be about what you choose to do, when you go on a startup journey, it takes 7 to 10 years minimum, and who you choose to do it with, that's probably the best advice I can give you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
guys. Thanks, Brad, for giving those questions and answers. I definitely appreciate that feedback, inspiration. I'll start right now with our pitches. You guys are ready to hear some startup pitch? Yeah, no. Come on, you guys had too much to drink? So let me go ahead and call out the first pitch is Law Food. And I'll bring you up.
Thanks, Johan. That was a pretty amazing speech from Brett, right? Another round of applause for Brett. I'm 24 right now too, so I'm hoping to be at the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey that will one day hopefully be very similar. So that was very inspiring. Last thing I'll say too is we just exported our pitch from Keynote to PowerPoint, so I apologize for the pixelated logo and some of the weird animations you're about to see. That's what happens when you export from Keynote to PowerPoint. And it always upsets me when a company has a pixelated logo in their pitch, so I had to apologize. Glad I had time for it. All right, let's start with a question. Who here likes visiting the attorney's office? All right, I see we have a couple attorneys in the crowd. But for the most part, nobody. And that, my friends, is a really big problem. It's a problem for you when the time comes that you need to hire a lawyer. Maybe you waited too long. And it's an even bigger problem for the over 800,000 solo practitioners and lawyers at law firms of fewer than 20 attorneys who are spending a ridiculous and growing amount on marketing to acquire you as a client. This growing cost and this growing problem explains why an estimated 80% of Americans currently do not have adequate access to legal services. So believe it or not, fixing attorneys' marketing problems starts here with the contact form. By simply copying and pasting a few lines of code, LawBooth is making it ridiculously simple for lawyers to replace the outdated contact form they pretty much all have on their website with this, a secure booking widget. Now compared to a contact form, our secure booking widget triples a lawyer's conversion to consultation by synchronizing with their existing calendars, Apple, Google, Outlook, and making those empty hours available online. In less than a minute, new or existing clients can choose a meeting location, a time that works for both them and the attorney, and provide some basic details to help the lawyer prepare for the meeting. Once the appointment is booked, LawBooth sends instant notifications to the client, who 50% of the time will end up hiring the first attorney to respond. Now just to be clear, we are not just a scheduling company, but by paying close attention to security and legal ethical regulations, LawBooth provides a variety of unique features built specifically for attorneys. Our technology is eliminating the barriers between clients and attorneys connecting online, but there's still the issue of finding a lawyer. This problem is so severe that even our largest competitors, valued in the hundreds of millions of dollars, received terrible, terrible reviews from both clients and attorneys. On LawBooth, finding an attorney is simple. First, you select an area of law and type in your zip code. If you don't know what area of law to search for, don't worry. We're building the first intelligent matchmaking system to connect you to an attorney that we know you'll love. Once you've found the right attorney, our tech makes it effortless to schedule that free initial consultation. But even if you have the coolest marketplace in the world, which we clearly do, marketplaces only work when both sides show up. And with a need as infrequent as hiring a lawyer, how can we efficiently market to acquire you as a client? Well, if we've learned anything over the past year of connecting over 150 clients to the over 30 attorneys on our marketplace, it's that to win in this industry, you need to show up on the first page of search results. Many of you are probably thinking that in a competitive SEO space like law, this is not an easy feat. And you're right. But with our accelerating momentum and our growing list of index pages and our proven backlink strategy, and most importantly, our team's unique expertise in SEO, we are claiming and maintaining new top spots in Google search results each week. And furthermore, giving away a little bit of value away for free in exchange for links back to our website, so giving away that scheduling widget in exchange for the Powered by LawBooth link to our website, is a proven strategy employed by some of the largest online marketplaces. Our team has the right mix of skills, ethics, and determination to fix the broken legal industry. Our Chief Marketing Officer, as well as our Head of Business Development, were both early and former executives at our competitors before we stole them away. Both Michael and Barry bring to Law Booth the inside knowledge of how to scale a legal marketplace through the next 2 rounds. And the rest of the team is made up of former University of Colorado at Boulder students with expertise in marketing, development, and entrepreneurship. And together we've won some really cool awards. Now I want to leave you guys with a vision. The legal industry is really messed up. Attorney marketing is one of the many problems that needs to be solved. Once we fix the issue of efficiently connecting clients and attorneys online, our vision is to bring additional pain points into the cloud, eventually managing the entire legal process online. We know the key to fixing this industry is technology, and we will not stop innovating until 100% of the world has access to the legal services they deserve. Just to recap, my name is Willie Ogrzali. We are lawbooth.com. We're in a really big market. Our platform is live and it's growing. We have a unique vision that resonates with both clients and attorneys, and we have the right team to execute on this vision. Also really excited to be here right now because we just moved from Colorado a week ago, and we're so excited to be here in Austin. We're loving it so far. And really excited to meet all of you guys. If anybody here knows any attorneys, or maybe even investors, or other founders or mentors that are familiar with marketplaces or legal tech, we'd love to connect with you afterwards or anytime, because we're so excited to be here and meet all of you. So feel free to come say hi afterwards, or email me at willie@lawbooth.com. Thank you so much.
Okay, anybody have any questions?
In the back. Yes.
Yes, I'll speak loud enough so it won't be echoey.
Thank you.
What's your value prop to the attorneys? It seems like you're in a very draconian market, and how do you plan on acquiring it, right?
Great question. So 2 questions. What's our value proposition to attorneys, and how do we sign them up? So, like you said, it's a draconian industry, very slow to evolve, but clients are evolving. And over the past 10 years, the legal industry has changed in the sense that fewer and fewer people are asking their friends for referrals. More people are going online and searching for an attorney. And attorneys, because they're so draconian, are struggling to figure out how to capture this demand. So our value proposition is, don't worry about it. Just do what you do best. Get rid of that stupid contact form that's making all of your existing marketing efforts a waste. Add the secure scheduling widget, and we're going to effortlessly fill those empty hours with existing clients that you already have and the clients that are already visiting your website. Then once we've got them on board for the scheduling, we say, hey, we see you have some empty hours in your calendar, because many lawyers do. Why don't you make those available on our marketplace? And that's a big value for us. How do we acquire these attorneys? That's the tricky part. Just getting in touch with them is really hard because their time's so valuable and they're really good at deflecting sales. So referrals are probably the best way for us to sign up a lawyer. Just getting that introduction and saying, hey, there's this cool tool I heard about. You might want to use it. They'll thank you for it, I promise. So please help us make these introductions. And the next way that we're testing out is just postcards that make our value proposition very clear, because that's one way. If you handwrite the name, we can send it to their office, and there's a better chance of them opening that than just an email. Final piece is content and press. We're working on articles for attorneys to answer their big questions about marketing, and to tell them, should you use PPC or SEO, or maybe Law Booth? And that's working really well as well.
One more question?
How do you differentiate yourself from the competition, the lawyer.com, the LegalZoom, things like that?
Definitely. So our main differentiator right now is that scheduling. And it wasn't what we thought our differentiator was going to be when we launched. We thought it was going to be the video conferencing technology. We were wrong. People started getting excited about the scheduling. So that's our main difference right now. But it's sustainable in some ways. Scheduling's hard to build. But the long-term sustainable competitive advantage that we're working on developing is that intelligent matchmaking. And that's really cool because it's easy to copy, well, it's not easy, but you can copy scheduling, but it's really difficult, really expensive to copy AI. And once you have it in place, it gets smarter and smarter and smarter. So it's a sustainable competitive advantage, and it's really needed in the industry, and it fits right into what we've built.
Good. Great. That was pretty much it. It's okay. Appreciate that.
Sorry I talked so long.
No, it's okay. We have Deborah. There you go.
All right, my name is Devin Hariani, and I'm thrilled to be here with all of you tonight. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Quaddle. Quaddle is a platform connecting kids to enrichment, education, and fun. And it sounds awesome, but before I get into any of that, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. Because my goal today is to tell you about the pain that parents feel, to show you what we're doing, and to tell you how big this marketplace is. So me, I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I was an evening MBA student and working full-time at Bazaarvoice until recently when I graduated. And one of the biggest things that I felt that I was a very busy person, I thought, I just don't have enough time in the day. That's until I spent one day with my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law is the mother of twin 6-year-old girls. And this summer, she completely lost it. Her girls are jumping off the walls, they were fighting, she didn't know what to do with them. It was very, very frustrating to her, and she just needed a solution. As I did some market research, I started talking to more parents. This quote blew me away. One mother, her son is 8 years old, he's autistic, and she said getting her son into the right camp was a blood sport. Literally, she had to fight other moms that wouldn't tell her about the best camps, so that way she could get her son into those camps. And let me tell you a little bit about how this industry works for those of you, since this is a tech-savvy crowd, you might not know. But most parents have to go to different events and collect flyers, paper flyers, dozens of these flyers to figure out all the different activities and camps that are in the neighborhood. Then they have to sort through those flyers. It's very time consuming. We found that parents are spending 4.9 hours per week just to manage, search, and handle logistics for their kids' activities. It was mind-boggling. As we talked to camp providers, we found that they had an equally challenging problem on their end. For example, if you're a camp provider, you don't know how to reach parents, so you go to some of these events, you pay $600, you get 0 registrations. The whole thing doesn't work for them. It's not effective, and it's super time consuming. So to summarize, the market problems we started to find on both sides of this marketplace was for parents, they needed more access to information, such as ratings and reviews. They needed convenience, such as the ability to book online, and they needed variety, the ability to find out about camps and activities that they wouldn't normally know about unless their friends told them. For providers, on the other hand, they're small businesses. They need new customers. They lack the resources, and they're using antiquated marketing technology to get out there and get in front of customers. For an increasing digital world, it's very hard for these mom and pop shops to compete. To give you some information about the marketing, or the market size, it's a $60 billion industry, and summer camps alone is a $16 billion industry. So there's around 800,000 camp providers and activity providers in the US. So to put that in perspective, there's only 650,000 restaurants in the US. So this is a more fragmented space than the restaurant industry, and it's a huge space as well. In Austin, we estimate that it's around a $60 million market just based on the data that we've collected, and it's growing around 4%. I think this is the wrong deck. You might have pulled that.
That's the old one? Or the
Yeah, it might be an old one, but it's okay. We're gonna keep cranking through this. So, what are we building to go and solve this problem? Well, naturally, we're building a marketplace. This is a tech-savvy crowd. I don't need to explain to you the benefits of a marketplace, but I will tell you they're really, really hard to build. You need to have a lot of traction, but once you start to get traction, you get scale, they're unbelievably profitable and very successful. And we're starting to see marketplaces pop up for different verticals. As we saw, Law Booth did a great job, and we've even seen companies like Dog Vacay, which raised $25 million off of a $142 million valuation. So at Quaddle, we're building a marketplace to help connect parents with different activity providers. So the way we're doing that is we're going to create a platform. I have a demo at the end I can show you, which is allowing parents to search. Then from there they can discover, enroll, and manage their entire child's activity cycle. Now this is just the beginning. Eventually we want to create a full child management system that can organize and recommend to your child what are the activities based on your child's skills, competencies, and desires or where they want to grow. So for example, for Brett's daughter, she's into entrepreneurship. They might recommend things that will help her with her entrepreneurship, or give her different activities and skills that would help her supplement what she's already been doing. Along with that, we want to create a vibrant user community to allow parents to connect with one another. Okay, our revenue model is simple. We take 15% off of any transaction that happens through our platform. These are boring financials. So our marketing strategy is to connect through schools and through many of these grassroots organizations, whether it be Facebook, email, different camp associations that are out there. Again, there's 800,000 providers out there today, and right now, we partnered with around 20 of them. We have 150, actually this is incorrect, we have 1,300 users signed up. So we have grown since this deck, which I believe was in April. We've been doing a lot of grassroots Facebook advertising, and we're starting to look for investment. So we're looking to raise $500K. That's a lot for a seed round, but we're looking for any amount up to that can get us going, and then hopefully do a Series A sometime next year. So right now, the team is myself, plus a marketing manager. We're looking for a technical co-founder to round out our team. And let me do a quick demo for you. Oh. Okay, so this is what we have so far. We have the home page, and then from here, we can actually use different categories because we're trying to structure all the data. So our first step has been taking all the data that's unstructured out there, structuring it, so that way you can have it in different categories based on locations or other amenities, such as, okay, I'm looking for a half-day camp, or a full day, or I want something that comes to my house, such as music lessons. And then from there, the search brings up a map, and you guys, it's a pretty standard UI. You guys have probably seen it before in terms of you need a map, you need to be able to drill down into the different listings that are available. And then when you drill down into a listing, you can get information on reviews, videos, and scheduling information. So this here is a ukulele instructor. He has a lot of his information right here. So no more searching through different flyers. If you've worked with him before, you can see videos of his work, descriptions, and reviews.
That's my friend. He's really good at the ukulele.
He's phenomenal, right? You should see his video. I mean, I've never seen him work a crowd of 5-year-olds in my life.
Five stars.
Yeah, 5 stars, definitely. And that's why he has these 5-star reviews. So, awesome. Well, thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be around, or we have Q&A.
Yeah, we got Q&A, so any questions, Fran?
Yep. Yep, right here. Yeah.
Are your current partners that are on your site, are they only signed up partners, or have you been scraping in the data or adding any people and then going back to them saying that?
Well, so the partners on the site are signed up. We have scraped data. We have around 700 camps of data that we've scraped from a web crawler that I built. So we're trying to decide do we want to unleash that data yet? Do we want to try to sign them up? We're trying to figure out what the right strategy is there. So, okay. Another one in the back?
2 questions. One is the 15%, who's paying that? Is it the provider or a parent? And then secondly, are you letting these folks and have a parameter for if they're meeting the state's requirements for adults to children ratio?
Good point. So the adult to child ratio is one of the things that we can add on there, and there's a lot of different nuances to the state regulation. For example, if you're a city camp, I don't think you have to adhere to the same regulations as private camps. So there's a lot of nuances in there that before we put it on the website, we want to figure out. And then your first question, 15%, yes. The provider pays the 15%, but they don't pay it off the top of every student. For example, they might have 60 spots in their camp or class, but only 40 of them are filled. So they would pay it on that last 20 or whatever amount we help them fill to get them to capacity. Because that market is super inefficient as well. Right now, when they don't get enough people that sign up, they actually have to cut instructors and change around the whole program. So getting that market to function more efficiently, there's a lot of opportunity for the providers to pay that 15%.
One more question? Right here, I guess?
Oh, yep, right here, maybe? Yes, thank you. Perfect question. I'm absolutely looking for a co-founder. I'd love to have a technical co-founder. Ideally, somebody that has experience with kids, maybe a mom, or somebody that deeply knows the problems that parents face, or is interested in working on problems that parents face. Because to me, I felt as I became a new dad with so much on my plate, it was really challenging trying to balance all of that. And I think there could be more technology tools for parents out there.
Thank you. That's great.
Mr. Brett Hurt, would you kindly stay for my pitch?
I have to go.
Okay.
I have
Well,
to go, but, well, let me
can I
explain
email
why I
it to
have
you?
to go.
Lifestyle.
I'm flying out to New York tomorrow. I've got young kids.
Yeah.
I love my young kids. And I need to get home for them, so.
Will you leave a card so that I can email you my deck?
It's just,
Look at that go-getter mentality.
Yeah. You gotta hustle. You guys gotta hustle.
Brett Hurd at Gmail.
Okay, thanks so much. You all have it now. You're welcome. Thank you. Bye, Brett.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, I'm Jen, and I am the founder of Before Elixir. And before I tell you what my badass beverage does, I'd like to ask you a couple questions. Please raise your hand if you've ever suffered from a terrible hangover, ever in your life. Okay. As expected, most of the people in the room. Please raise your hand if someone you know, or someone you saw at a bar turned bright red when they drank alcohol. Okay, a good number, about a third, quarter of the people in the room. So my drink, Before Elixir, prevents just that. All right, it prevents people from flushing red and getting hungover. So on the left here is my friend Ellis. That's what he looks like after 1-2 drinks. The photo on the right is what he looks like when he pre-games with Before Elixir. Before Elixir also prevents hangovers, so you don't look like this sad lady over here. One bottle covers 3 to 5 alcoholic beverages, and it makes it a lot healthier and more comfortable for you to drink alcohol. Uh-oh, I'm in a different deck. Hey, Johan?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Okay. There we go. So, what's the size of the market? Well, 70% of people of Asian descent flush red when they drink alcohol, and 10% of all drinkers from all ethnicities. So, globally, that's about 1 billion people. Now, almost everyone gets hangovers. So, altogether, that's a shit ton of people. That's what that says. I don't know why my slide's getting cut off. It looks good on my computer. But you get the idea. So I launched my company last year on Indiegogo, and currently we're in 15 stores in Texas, and by January we're going to be in 100 more. We're in review with Whole Foods, and next year we plan on launching in H-E-B. So we're also in Central Market in Weeds Forward now, so that's where you can get us locally. So it's not just an idea, we're fully in market and growing. And I'm looking for not a co-founder, a business partner. So this is me right here. I'm a combination of Batman, and I put Xena the Warrior Princess in there because I think I'm a little more charming than Batman. But I get shit done. You'll never meet someone as passionate, as bold, as fierce, as you can see, than me. And what I need is a Lucius Fox. So if some of you aren't familiar, Lucius Fox enables Batman to continue kicking ass and taking names. And he keeps things running smoothly. Okay? He is well connected. He knows operations and finance. And I need someone to help me fundraise because unfortunately I don't know a lot of wealthy people. So I need you to help me make it rain. Which brings me to this point. We're also fundraising this year. We have fundraised $65,000 in seed capital. That was a couple years ago, and I'm fundraising $300,000 now in convertible debt to help fund growth in the 100 stores that we're launching in between now and December. And that is it. Short and sweet. My name's Jen Du. That's my email. That's my phone number. If you know of someone, a colleague, a friend who would make a great business partner or potential investing partner, please contact me. Thank you.
Questions?
Yeah, okay. Your hand up first. Yes, sir.
What's your main ingredient?
Ooh, so there's 3 things. I have the Complete B complex vitamin there, 2 vital amino acids, and a lot of plant extracts like milk thistle, and dandelion root, but everything's public knowledge, so it's not like a secret sauce. You can find it on our label.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of FDA, compliance did you have to go through in order to create the product then?
So the FDA does not regulate supplements, and so we don't need to meet FDA regulations. However, they do regulate labels, so the claims we make on our label need to be FDA compliant, and I have a lawyer that helps me make sure that that happens. Yes?
Can you talk about your competition?
Sure. So there are a few hangover prevention products out in the market. Some of you know locally there's Never Too Hungover, there's Resc Water in the West Coast, and some people take some pills. What makes us different and special is that we're natural. I use no artificial colors, flavors, or sweeteners in my product. Before Elixir tastes really good. You can use it as a mixer. You can chase it, shoot it, drink it pre-game, whatever you want to do. And it really works. Yeah. And it also, none of the hangover prevention products prevent flushing, which is a really important problem that a lot of people have that makes it really uncomfortable and very unhealthy for them to drink alcohol. Yes, ma'am?
Well, because of that point, have you gone into the Asian countries at all, or are you looking at it?
Yes, so we are in I have two international points of distribution. Thank you for making me mention that. We're, in addition to Central Market in Leedsville, I also sell online on my website. And we have customers from 40 states and 20 countries that order from us. I'm also on Amazon, or Before Elixir is also on Amazon. And we have 2 foreign distributors in Singapore and Australia, where there's a large Asian population. And we're also courting a distributor in Korea that really wants us to launch in Korea this year, but I'm waiting until we establish a better brand equity so we can launch with a lot of power in Korea.
One more
Yes,
question.
sir.
Where do you produce this, and what's the quantity you produce?
So we have a co-packer in Minneapolis, and the quantity varies. Right now, every production run is about 20,000 bottles. Yeah, and we produce quarterly. Yeah, but next year it'll be a lot more because by the end of next year we'll be in about 500 stores nationally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How y'all doing tonight? My name's Aaron Benz. I'm the CEO and founder of Zinc Up. We are at the kind of very height to understand this a engagement platform, and right now we really focus on schools and student retention. So how can we get more kids to stay in school and get them graduated? There we go. So engagement. So how big of a problem is this really for schools? How many kids are actually dropping out? Well, if you look at the freshman retention rates, right, as in how many freshmen actually come back for their sophomore year, 1 in 5 drop out. If you look at a 6-year average for student retention, only 60% of kids who started that school actually end up finishing. And how much is that to a university? Well, if you add up the recruiting cost that it actually takes to get them in, if you add up the replacement cost, the missed tuition until that replacement comes in, it's about $22,000 a student, right? So this is a really big problem that schools are currently having. Where especially even on a state level, we're starting to see differences in how state schools are actually funded. It used to be an enrollment-based model, meaning we're gonna give you state funding based on how many kids are actually enrolled. Now it's performance-based, or at least 38 of the states are, meaning we're gonna give you 25 to 50% of your funding based on how many students are actually coming back next year and are actually graduating. So why do students leave, right? If they're dropping out, what can we do to actually keep them here? So this was a recent report done by Dr. Neil Raisman, who's been a scholar and high-level consultant in all of college and universities for the past 30 years. He does this study about every 4 years, and this one actually just came out 4 months ago. And what's so interesting is that what you'll actually see is about 75% of the reasons students drop out are ultimately due to engagement or customer service issues. Right? As a student, I don't value the education anymore. I don't think it's worth it anymore. I'm not making friends. I'm not finding my tribe. We call that social isolation. It's not worth the time or money, or the college doesn't care about me. And so what we're doing is really taking a different look at that impact about what students are actually doing and focusing on the data piece of it. So what do? We take on tons of different student data, and I'll show some samples of that in a second, and are able to produce early detection for at-risk students, right? As in, let's not wait till the end of the semester when they're ready to drop out. Instead, how can we pull the data that the schools already have and be able to do early prediction for at-risk students so a counselor can go in and make the difference? At the same time, we have an app that's meant to take on a lot of the engagement as far as communication goes on campus. And with that and a lot of additional systems, we're able to measure and create personal interaction that students are having, particularly with their professors. Has anybody ever had a professor reach out and say, hey, I just want to let you know you did a really good job today? Or I really love the way that you put a lot of work in and you took your grade from a D to a B? How much does that mean? It means a ton, and there's a lot of data there to back that up. We're helping to facilitate those interactions. Additionally, we're able to connect similar students. There's a growing number of students who are working more than 30 hours a week. 2 jobs. That's really, really hard. And so what we're able to do is actually find those students who are in those situations and bring them together so that they're not isolated, so they don't fall off the wagon, but instead they can unify and support each other to actually graduate and keep on in school. So where does all this data come from? Well, the first thing you have to understand is schools have tens to literally hundreds of different systems that come on, where only a few are actually even looked at. The main ones are, of course, the LMS or Learning Management System, the SIS, the ERP, all of those great little things. But we also take a different look to measure things like Sodexo data, right? As in, are kids eating at a cafeteria or are they eating at a cafe? From an engagement perspective, it's a touch point between that student and the university. And those students are going to be different. And additionally, we have a campus app that we give away for free, mainly because we don't think software in this case fixes problems. Instead, applying insights from data and actually getting results is what helps students.
1 minute.
So just a really quick example of some of the stuff that we actually do. This is one of the visualizations we come up with where we're able to create an understanding of the different types of students you have on your campus. So what you see here is each little node is actually a student, and they're pinned together to other students that are like them. For the first time for universities, this is a look into the actual student groups that they have on their campus. Just to tell you a little insight into this market opportunity, I grossly underestimated it, and we're very particular about it. But again, at $22,000 per student that they're losing for dropout, it's a really big place. But we really believe our vision is to make this a data engagement platform. We want to measure physical and virtual interactions to be able to understand how those are going to make a difference, whether it's a student graduating or a patient in recovery or someone new to a community and getting involved. We've got a pretty amazing team. We're 5 engineers. We're building like crazy. We've got a big data focus and then a mobile and front-end focus as well. The slide got messed up, but just tell you a little bit. One of our formal advisors is Charles Thornborough, who's local. If anybody knows him, he's the CEO and founder of Civitas Learning. Oh, well, there you go. And that's it. That's the go.
Do you have any schools or pilots?
Yeah, so we have a couple schools we're already working with right now.
Which one?
I can give you one of them right now, it's public knowledge, which is Eastern University. They're a small school outside of Philly.
So the interaction with Civitas, and how much overlap is there on that interaction?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a great complement right now. They're really focused on a lot of the data that they already have, and they're really more or less it's like an ETL shop. Let's bring in the data, try to get early predictions. They haven't gotten into this actual student-facing or student touch points, the engagement piece. So how are students eating? What clubs are they going to? How are they communicating? What does the professor communicate to them? And that's where we're able to really piece those two together to get even better predictions.
Are you creating actionable data for the universities, or are you engaging the students in the classroom? Oh, both or one?
Both.
Okay, how do you engage with the classroom specifically?
For the professors, it's a way for them to streamline their communication. And as a TA, for example, we want to create a study group, right? So that right before the test, people can get together, and then through kind of that social aspect, you can actually see who's showing up and engage other people. Same things for clubs, all the other kind of organizations they have on campus, just using the power of social to bring and get more people excited about events that are going to happen.
Is this kind of like a different way of saying present on whatever you're working on?
I think in some way, yeah. It's also a way to let people know, like, a little bit tapping into the FOMO mentality, but trying to get people to engage more, to find kids who might otherwise be isolated and bring them together over something they both enjoy.
What I'm asking is, what else does it do besides say where you are, like location-wise? Does it? I don't know. I'm trying to understand. Sorry.
Yeah. So actually, we pivoted a little from our original idea, which we originally kind of came out, which I think we talked, and it was a much more location sharing app. And now it's really for the school or just communities to better run their organizations, clubs, event management, all that kind of stuff.
One more question?
Are the students required to enter in data themselves? If they are, what kind of incentive is there, and is there a problem with them adhering to it or taking time to enter in extra data?
Yeah, absolutely. So what's great is, especially for athletics and the club leaders, they're incentivized to get people to go to their stuff because they want to have a club that everybody loves, right? And so what ends up happening is they kind of become the leaders through it, where I want more people to go to my lacrosse game, right? So what is everybody who's a player, they're kind of the owners of the lacrosse team, so they get people to go up.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We have one more presentation, and we'll be networking after that, and you can talk to all the folks that presented up here. So, Chimichurri, can you come up, please, Sebastian?
Thank you.
There you go.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sebastian Brocher, and I'm the founder and CEO at Chimichurri. At Chimichurri, we build money-making machines for the ones that have blue here in this audience. So, the way we typically say that is we help non-technical founders go from idea to revenue faster. And we do that by leveraging our innovation platform, which is capable of generating web applications. The kind of web applications that we generate are membership-driven kind of websites, or software as a service, vertical businesses like Brett was talking about, or also like Quaddle was presenting, we can also generate marketplaces. And those marketplaces can be business to business, they can be business to consumer, or peer to peer. So my presentation is a little unconventional here. This is an example of one of our demos on how we can offer founders to create sites that can collect subscription payments from consumers. And so the way those subscription plans got to be there are through the admin panel that comes with all the applications that we generate. So out of the box, you get an admin panel that lets you run your business, see what's going on. And one of the things you can do is very easily create different subscription plans. We also give a lot of self-serving capabilities to your users. So as well, out of box, your users can not only sign up and subscribe and securely enter their credit cards, but they can upgrade, downgrade, see their billing history, cancel at any time, change their credit cards. The system will also take care of things like subscriptions by financial standing and catching up to due payments and things like that. So you don't have to worry about any of all of those details. They come out of the box ready for you. Also out of the box, we have a content management system that lets you update your website. The website that we generate is responsive, so it works great on desktops, on tablets, on mobile. It's very easy to use. You can change your content, you can change emails that the system sends out, so it's very user-friendly. All of the applications we generate also integrate with 4 different service providers. One of them is a Stripe. Use it to securely collect credit cards, process subscription payments, one-time payments, and also marketplace type payments where you can enable your customers to sell through your platform and collect a transaction fee like Quaddle does. We also integrate with Google Analytics, and we go beyond just a page level tracking. We actually track different events and let you measure your conversion rates and funnels. With MailChimp, so that you can easily do email marketing to your customers, and with Postmark, so that your one-time emails like well-time email or like reset password email don't get lost into like a junk box. And the way it works is very easy. It's kind of ordering pizza. You go to jimmy.co, up to our website, click on Start Building, and you go through the wizard. The first thing you do is you select your flavor for your pizza. And so we have a basic software as a service flavor, a productized services flavor, a membership directory flavor, and a marketplace type flavor. And then after that, you select toppings that you may want. And an example of toppings is if you want SMS and MMS capabilities, or if you want a Zapier integration, for instance. And then after that, you get to select a little bit look and feel and some of the marketing messaging. From there on, we generate your application free of charge. You can preview all of the features, we can demo it for you. And once you decide to launch, you get a control panel from where you can also purchase custom development hours from us. So we can build also custom features for you on top of the applications that we generate, on top of what comes out of box. And you can also bring your own developers if you prefer. Here are a couple of examples of what we have built for a couple of clients. And we can build, again, things across different industries, different verticals, different kind of business models. And we do all of that starting by only $300, plus $99 a month if you want to host the application with us, or you're also welcome to take it home. And then we are also available to do custom development as well. So that was it.
Questions?
Sure. So how, as websites customer base grows, how do you scale so they make sure you have enough space to hold all the new users and data?
Right, so great question. So we actually have two different plans. It starts at $99 and we have a more powerful plan at $199 a month. And then if you require a more powerful service, we can actually migrate your application to your own cloud provider, and we can do that for you, or you can do it on your own as well. So typically what happens is we engage with founders when they're just barely getting started. They have an idea, but they don't have the technical know-how to get it done. And so we get them started, but you get access to the source code with our license. So once you get your technology, then typically when you get to that point, you already have like your VP of technology or your technical co-founder, and then they'll take over, or we can do that for you too.
What's the rate for custom development after we launch?
It's $150 an hour.
It looks like you have put in a lot of work. Did you customize some kind of CMS, or like you built it from scratch?
So we use a lot of different things. We didn't build it from scratch. We use Ruby on Rails. That's the programming framework. We also use Postgres for the database. We use Twitter Bootstrap. We use jQuery. We use Docker. We use Docker Cloud. We use a lot of different technologies and a lot of different open source components as well. What we calculate is the effort that you get for the $300 that come with the license is typically between 2 to 3 months of work, and typically that would be charged in more like $20,000 to $40,000 depending on who you go with.
One more question. One more question?
Everybody wants me to.
So how many clients do you have so far?
We built 13 applications so far.
Do you have a team, or is it just you?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a team, like a team with your own thing, or?
Yeah, so we have 2 developers on contract mode here, and we also have a chief revenue officer, and we also have an advisor, Mr. Steve Semathorek.
I think you have one more question here.
I was just gonna ask, who are your competitors, and how do you differentiate from like a Shopify or something like that?
Yeah, so great question. We typically don't do e-commerce. E-commerce is a well-solved problem, at least to the technology where it stands today. So we can do e-commerce, but typically if you want to deal with physical items and you have shipping and orders and inventory and things like that, then you're probably better off going with a Shopify or a Magento or Evolution or something like that. Really, the closer competitor would be a custom development shop. And basically, we are a lot cheaper without sacrificing quality.
Okay, thank you. Okay guys, so what I'm gonna do, thank you. Just wanna show you this. You guys can, if you have your mobile, you can go through it. You can see what people are looking for and connect with them. Here, we'll just go talk to them and see the color dots and connect with them as well there. We couldn't have done this without our sponsors, so please thank them again, and I'll start our music, and then about 9 o'clock, I'll ring the bell again, and we have to leave the room. So go ahead and network, guys. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, we just moved down last minute. There's a weeks
I do a lot of weight. So I work at Microsoft here.
I